Welcome to Connecting with Corinne, the podcast where I help you find your community one story and connection at a time. I'm your host, Corinne, and each week I explore inspiring conversations that connect us to the world around us, spark new ideas, and help build stronger, more meaningful connections. Whether it's through personal stories, thought-provoking discussions, or shared experiences, we're here to bring diverse perspectives to the table. So let's dive in and start. All right, welcome to another episode of Connecting with Corinne podcast, and I am here with the amazing Sandy Mulroy. Sandy, I have known for so many years, and I'm just racking my brain of how do I know you? Because I like to talk about how I met people first. And I moved to Cochrane in 2014 in February, and I think you got into the circles quite quickly with myself. And I think maybe the first time I met you was I got a raindrop therapy from you.
It was either Raindrop or I went to a dragon dance yoga class. I can't remember which came first.
I think raindrop therapy came first because I was starting to teach yoga a little bit. And then when I fell in love with dragon dance, then I was just like trying to share it with everyone. You're so amazing. You teach yoga. Oh God. And now I'm blanking but you have so many things.
I wear many hats.
And you do holistic nutrition. You do the foraging with the mushrooms and everything else. Oh, what else? Like there's so much. And I can't forget the astrology. You've read like
Astrology, my first love.
first love. So I can't forget about that. You have so many things and it's been incredible. And you've created so much community with all the things that you have brought. So let's just hear a little bit about you because I'm sure I forgot some things.
Okay. No, you did pretty good. My career since I started Solar Power Health, I started as a nutritionist and a personal trainer. And then I got into Reiki and Raindrop. And it was always about helping people, but I'd find these tools and I'm like, this isn't it. This isn't it. This isn't it. But they helped me find so many people that it was quite awesome when I did find what I want to be doing. I had this big circle of people. If we were going to sum me up in little words, I am what's called a psychological astrologer. And what that means is I'm not so interested in what the upcoming transits are for people. I more look back into their programming and who they are. And I use that and the gene keys, but it's all about self-exploration and helping people just really learn to fall in love with every part of themselves. And then I, of course, run hiking groups and nature retreats, and I take people out into nature. I do a lot of anything out there. We do wildcrafting, foraging, you name it, anything that can connect with nature and spend time there for sure. And then I do a lot of wellness retreats all over the world. So we're going to Greece this September. I have Nicaragua next year, and yoga is recently added, but it's something that I've always made a part of everything I do anyways, because it's been such a big part of my life. But they all blend together. The more you learn about astrology and then the herbs, there's astroherbology, like everything is interconnected. So I look like I wear many hats, but it's just a broad hat.
Everything's just woven in together. I love it. It's funny because with astrology, I was talking with Alex and Katy, and Alex was really funny because he was saying to me, now we can debunk this. Because he was saying, let's reverse engineer the astrology because we can figure out what Alex and Katy's partnership was like with the stars. If we figure out where the stars are for me, for my perfect man, then we can then try to figure out what birthday he is. And the time, but it's not just the birthday, right? Because it's about the time and the place and other things as well. Because I think you've said in their podcast that sometimes the charts can look amazing and then these people just don't work together.
Yes. Yeah. Mostly a lot of the most compatible charts, people grow apart because they're almost too much alike. There's not any friction to promote growth.
Whereas complete opposite sometimes.
It would be a really good concept, but it all depends too. Like where, if you have for example, like Pluto in your seventh house, then marriage is your place of transformation. So this is somebody who might not ever find that actual person. They're meant to find relationships that evolve them. Or if they do find a relationship, it will be about that. So it's a tricky one because the programs are, the amount of things are like almost infinite.
All right. So we can't, so
No.
your problem. So we can say, no, we didn't.
But I can create the ideal archetype for you and we can go from there. So you can have a questionnaire built in. So on the first date, you can just ask the questions that need to be asked.
I think
So,
that,
yeah,
that would be brilliant. Actually, that would be really interesting for the speed dating concept of have people already know what like their kind of quote unquote ideal would be following these questions. And then you can check off the boxes and be like, do you feel like a match? No. And see if the stars do align. And it'd be interesting to see how the stars, if the stars do align, and then how you interact with that person. Because then it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to feel that connection.
I think that's the thing. I don't know. When it comes to relationships, I look at the men that I'm attracted to, and then I look at my husband, who we actually fell in love on a whole different thing. And through a series of events that nobody else could have dictated, we persevered. And he is the most opposite. And we have not had an easy relationship. We are 15 years in now at this place where it's just bliss. But it went through a lot where if I had done that in any other time in my life, I would have left, hands down. And he would have too. So I think it's all about choice too. Is someone willing to step into the evolved parts of their signs and their programming and do the work? Or are they going to stay in the shadow parts of their signs? Because then they're never, you could do all the work you want, but if your partner isn't.
I think that's what I've talked about with Alex and Ketty as well, with that partnership of if one pushes the other one, and then it's okay, who's evolving and who's staying, and that with them, they're able to just push, right? And they're able to elevate together. And I think those are the kind of the partnerships where if you're pushing yourself and your partner's growing in whatever way, it doesn't have to be spiritual, but it can just be wanting to be better. And then that encourages you to be better for yourself in whatever shape or form that is, right? Physically, emotionally, mentally. And then you just kind of push each other and you're like, yay, like we're a little power couple and we can just keep pushing each other.
Literally.
Like codependency, but there has to be something to be said about having that energy and being like, hey, I'm evolving. Either you're going to come with me or you're going to stay behind.
Exactly. And it's funny because I do like probably predominantly a lot of the work I do is based on interpersonal relationships and marriage. I do so many synastry readings on people. And the question isn't whether you're compatible with a person or not. It's, are they willing to step into that? So yeah, you're 100% right. At the same time, it is nice to see the dynamics because, for example, you can release your expectations on somebody if you just realize they're not programmed to do it. They will never be able to do that. Then instead of being resentful and upset, you can be, all right, you don't have to do that. That's helped us immensely for sure.
Well, and I think it's nice for the awareness of knowing that we talked about my chart before, that it's Capricorn sun, Cancer moon, total opposites. I had that self-realization, that aha moment of, oh, okay, this is why I'm like this. And then when I had the Aries and everything else, so the Aries helps with the emotions. That's why I can get really fiery and it takes a lot to poke the bear, but once that bear is poked, then the bear explodes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just brings that self-realization and awareness. And I feel that
you have self-awareness, you're going to succeed.
Yeah.
It's that simple in life. And if we can bring self-awareness to our strengths, but especially to our shadow strengths, I'm going to call them because they're still strengths. That's the key to life, which is why I prefer the psychological astrology, because when people are like, what's going to happen to me on this date or when this happens, it's not fate. It's a choice. The planets create an energy. And you can choose to respond or to react to that energy. And whether you resist or whether you work with it is going to be the answer. I say that a lot because everyone blames everything in life on full moons and Mercury retrograde. But if they used it, it'd be very powerful.
All the technology, when the technology dies, like Mercury retrograde.
I know. Oh, the stuff people blame on Mercury retrograde is just ridiculous. And I'm always like, do you even know where it's happening in your charts?
I think we just all hear it's, oh, Mercury retrograde's happening. It's that time of month, right? And like it's almost like the PMSing.
Yeah, literally. I feel like actually that's a good way of putting it. It's literally one thing we can blame everything on, but we all know it's not that.
Per Mercury
Per Mercury
was backwards. So anyway, but let's just talk about how you create communities. How is it that you are able to bring so many people together through?
It's actually pure selfishness. I love to teach about astrology. I love to share things, and then there's things that I can't do. So the things that I can't do, I like to find the people that can do that and then blend that together. And community, I have what's called an 11th house stellium. Almost all my planets are in my 11th house in the zodiac of community. So it's having a village, having a tribe, having support. That's key to everything that I do, whether it's running hiking groups or my business or even my friends, like parties we have here and stuff like that. I love bringing people together and feeling that warmth of community.
No, it's great. And I love how we talk about the collaborations because I know you as one of these people that just collaborates with so many people. And I know you have done that in the past. And I know you're kind of doing that a little bit now. We talked a little bit about a break of having that, but I think it's beautiful because I mean, I've been blessed to work with you. We did some dragon dance and sound bowls together. How do you find people to collaborate with you? And what's that process like?
Like I said, it's very selfish oriented. What do I want to bring to the world? And then what parts can I not bring? And then who can I collaborate with and hopefully make something that can help everyone, but aligns still with my purpose. And usually the universe just pops them in front of me and I say, hey, I want to do this together. Like you and I talked about, there was a year where that's all I did. And I really lost myself in it too. So now when I collaborate, it's a whole different process because when you don't have children, my business is my baby. So it has to be handled in the way that I want it to be handled. Whereas it used to be like, let's just jump in and do this. And so there's a lot more alignment behind them, which is, I think, why the community and everything is growing so much more because people can feel like this holds integrity.
Well, and intention too, right? Because it's fun to be able to work with so many different people, but then not everyone's going to line up with you or even the people that they bring in into
Yes.
stuff that may not line up with you as well. So I think it's finding that balance of, yes, wanting to work with a lot of people, but also having that, I don't want to say boundary.
Well, it is a boundary
I guess
for
so.
sure.
And realizing that I don't have to work with everyone.
That was definitely one of the realizations. I think also, I think something that is very important is there's the purpose, the intention behind it, like you said. There's also the fact that this is my career. It's not a part-time hobby. It's not a passion project. This is literally a career. So those alignments, I want that energy behind it. Like I want, hey, this is my career too. There's that real commitment.
Yes. You want people to be committed and you want people to also really have that passion too with what they're doing.
Yes.
And not to say that I have my passion and I love the dragon dance, but I know for myself it's once in a while kind of thing. But for other people, it's like, no, I'm the living, breathing yoga, the yin yoga, or whatever it is. And I can totally understand. I totally relate what you're saying there.
I love your dragon dance, just FYI for anyone listening. Oh, They never see it anywhere. And it's so awesome.
Yeah, and it was so funny because I was thinking about that when you were coming on. I'm like, oh, I have not done Dragon Dance in quite a while. It's been a little while. So I think Dragon Dance needs to come out. I just have to figure out where, when I'll get a class out there. And yeah, I do miss it. And I teach in Calgary at Killarney, but right now I'm on a hiatus because I tore my ACL over the summer.
Ouch. Ouch.
So yoga is not really in the cards at the moment, but I would take it over. I'd be like, once a month, Dragon Dance is here, and all pieced out. They're just like, nope, we don't like this. And then other people, the other students, the new ones would just be like, what is going on? What did I sign up for?
What did I sign up? But it's so fun.
This is the yoga class that said it was going to be online.
I know.
This isn't Rest and Restore. This is something else. What is it? And I used to do that at Spray Lakes too.
Yeah.
Once a month, you get the Dragon's Dance, and if you don't like it, don't come. Don't come to the Sunday class. The rest of you, come join me. So I had to find a place to offer it, but I do love it. It's one of my favorite.
The story that goes with the actions, you can get so into it.
Yes. And the story is about empowering and having that empowerment, and
you get to switch roles.
Yes. You get to be the dragon and the hero at the time. And then at the end, the hero and the dragon become one, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Talk about a little bit about your retreats. How did you get into offering retreats for those who are maybe those struggling yoga instructors who want to try retreats?
A lot of trial and error. I started retreats how every strong Aries energy does. I just did it. I never researched half of the places when I first started doing them. I had never even been to. Like, there was retreats, people would show up and I'm like, oh God, this is, I guess, where we're staying. So I say trial and error, like literally, but I always plan them around what would I want to do. They're always really good food that everyone can eat, except for people with nut allergies, but everyone loves. And then just things that I would love, like let's go foraging. I do a lot of cold immersion. So let's go do this. Do some breath work and yoga on the dogs. And of course, I always have my sound bowls. And so I just started making these all around BC and Alberta. And eventually they started growing. And I started realizing the location matters a bit more and this matters. And so I started tying them in together. And then our global retreats, it was the same thing. It was trial and error. The first one, there's any of the girls that would listen to this podcast are probably laughing right now. It was quite interesting. So I've since learned that hire a retreat planner. They make your world go way. But that being said, there's something about bringing a bunch of people who have this common goal of just wanting to, whether it's self-exploration or whether it's just to feel that connection or curiosity, that it creates these memories that you can't explain because they're not you going with your family or your friends or your partner. They're going with people you don't know that you're going to get to know really well. And when you can hold a space where everybody gets seen and feels safe, all of a sudden you're shifting the world. It's incredible. So it's one of my biggest passions and pleasure in life.
Oh, that's amazing. I love it. Mm-hmm. I know even as a yoga instructor, I was like, oh, maybe I can try retreats. But then I think it was just the overwhelmingness of it all. And then who would come? Who shows up?
All the right people always will show up.
Well, I feel like you've also created that community and you have those clients already and people who have, I think, put trust and faith in you throughout all the other things that you have done over the years as well.
There's definitely that. There's definitely a lot of relationships that I've made through doing the work that I do. But there's also lots of hard work. Like, I spend a lot of money on advertising and getting things out there through the proper channels. And I just have faith. I always have faith that exactly who needs to be there will. And sometimes it's hilarious. Like, when I ask everyone like how they found out about it, it's because I'm curious from a marketing standpoint, what's working. And some people are like, their story is so, they were meant to be there. Put it that way.
That's amazing. I love it. So where you were briefly talked about the retreats at the beginning. What's the next one that you're doing?
The next retreat I'm doing, I got a whole bunch this summer. There's 3 in BC. The next one I'm doing globally is Greece. We're going to the island of Kos. That's in September, and that one's dear to my heart. Yeah, that would be the one that I think I would be the most excited about. The others are more weekend retreats and day getaways and stuff like that. But that one in Kos is, we're always searching for that remedy, that healing, that deep thing that we need, that missing link to letting us feel like we're thriving. And so on the island of Kos, we have rented out the temple of Asclepius, which is the Greek god of medicine. And so we're going to do a big meditation there so people can tap into their own intuition, but maybe, who knows, depending on their beliefs, maybe tap into channeling the Greek god of medicine and finding what is that path for them. And we also rented Hippocrates' garden, who's the father of medicine. So it's going to be a very holistic retreat, which is, you know, herbs and stuff like that. That's always my forte. So I'm very excited for that.
That is exciting. And so when is that exactly? It's in September?
Yeah, September 17th to the 24th.
That sounds amazing. And it's staying on the island.
Yeah, we're staying in glamping tents at a 4-star resort with a beautiful pool, and they're catering healthy foods for us. We get Greek cooking classes, and we did all the other tour things too. We're going to be going to some thermal springs. We're going on a 3-island cruise. So, you know, we're still going to get to see the sights and all that, but it is very nature themed and very holistic themed.
I love that. And that's with Tara, isn't it?
Yes, Tara and I have done so many retreats together. We seem to just jive very well. Tara from Heart to Heart Journey, I think she changed it to Tara Kenzie Longacre is her name. She's a beautiful spiritual coach and mentor for women who want to get into this field, be entrepreneurs in this world. So it'll be an empowering, and we've got a lot of good people coming already. So I think it's going to be one of those like pivotal, watch out world.
It's going to be soul changing, I think, for a lot of people, it sounds like.
Yeah.
And I've worked with Tara too. So you and Tara are going to just be between astrology, the Akashic record,
Yes.
all the sound healing, because you both are sound healers.
Yes. And astrology and the Akashic records go hand in hand. We used to do the cosmic blueprint where we'd combine forces together. And it's just so incredible how aligned they are and how well they flow. So yeah, there will be lots of that.
Oh, I love it. Both of you. I've always been I think that's how I got connected with Tara, was through you, because I just know you guys worked so well together. And it's always amazing just to see that you still connected and you're still collaborating, because.
Yeah. Oh, she's a soul sister. And you took Akashic records with her, right? Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. She'll say to do something, I'm like, oh, yes, I want to be involved. And I can't say no to you or to her, because you both have just amazing energy. And like I said, the community you both brought. And
yeah.
And I think whoever is able to go on to the retreat in Greece is just going to have an amazing time. And I'm fortunate to have 2 amazing people collaborating together.
Oh, I love your hearts. Thank you. It will be incredible.
And then is there anything else exciting other than Greece?
Corinne, it's such an incredible question to ask, because I have so many projects that are always on the go. And with me, they're always changing. I get so sold on one thing, and then it evolves, and then it transforms, and then shiny new something else. I don't know how to answer that. I'm like, I have so many things. There's a lot of nature retreats coming up, and those I always look forward to, especially with people who haven't had a lot of time in nature. It's really fun to take them out to a place they wouldn't normally go on their own and teach them what they can eat or not and how to do stuff. That'd probably be my exciting ones.
Are those day ones or those weekend ones?
They're called Nature's Rhythm Retreat. Those are every month. And every month's different. Like in March, we're taking people out and we're going to be making balm of Gilead from the poplar buds and showing them how to craft their own medicine that they get to go home with. And yeah, those ones. And then I'm at the yurt a lot. The yurt is like my second home. I love it there.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a nice little property. It's almost in Cochrane now, isn't it?
It is technically. It takes me from my house in Glenbow 5 minutes to get there.
Yeah, it's pretty much down the street in Fireside. It's a beautiful property, and Marnie's done an amazing job with it. So,
Oh, you spoke of intentions earlier, and you can feel the intentions that they put into that place. The minute you step on the ground, even park, it's a beautiful space.
mm-hmm. And then what's the next thing that's happening for you?
What is the next thing? Well, I have my program. I'll tell you about my program because that's my favorite thing in the world because it's my baby. So I will be at the yurt. It's called Sequences of Self. So it's a self-exploration that I do using the Gene Keys and astrology, but I do it in a sacred circle setting. So everybody that comes not only gets that moment to explore, but they get to share. And it's funny because I will always write up something that is actually meant to cause a reaction. This is built on their Gene Keys, on their astrology. And so when you read something out loud, all of a sudden, what you would normally just read in your mind, you can usually process really quickly. But when you have to say it out loud, there's this truth area, right? That either emotions come up or it blocks or you trip up the words or stuff like that. And so literally, that's an intuitive response to there's something that I'm fearful of saying or something here that has deeper meaning than just the words. So I set it up that way so people can really deeply investigate what is it. And then with the Gene Keys, we always go into the shadows and the reactive and repressed nature of them and so on. But I use the language of astrology with that. So it makes it just simpler to remember and to work with. So that's a program I came up with while I was in Mexico with Tara. I named it Seasons of the Soul. And then I was like, it's not really soul work. This is us work here. So that's my baby. And that's the next thing coming up. It's at the yurt. And I do those every month. We just keep going through the Gene Keys in different patterns.
I love it. I think when you were talking about how it gets stuck in the throat, I'm just thinking, oh, that must be hitting that shadow bit, right? And what have we repressed or pushed down, and now it's coming up, and it's like, how do we feel? Or it could just be that energy block too, right? Of something is kind of, oh, it doesn't feel so good, so now we have to explore.
Right?
Uh-oh.
Right? And sometimes it's even that validation. You're reading something that is so deeply your truth, but maybe it hasn't been witnessed or seen by others. Like it's this thing that you do that nobody seems to notice. So even that sometimes can cause huge emotional responses because you say it out loud and it not only affirms it for you, but it can also bring up that ownership of it. Yeah, it's really powerful.
Oh, I love it. And when does that start?
They're the first Thursday of every month at the yurt. And this one we're doing it's actually the final one. It's the Pearl. So there's 3 paths in the Gene Keys: the Genius, the Heart, Love, and then Prosperity. So we're doing essentially what is your brand is on the 6th of March, I think, the first Thursday. So it'll be what is your brand? What is the public energy that you put out that involves all of your gifts, all of your interpersonal skills, everything together in that. So yeah.
Cool. And if people haven't been part of this before and they jump in for this Thursday in March, would that be okay with them? Or is it easier to start when you start the series again?
It's they can come anytime. I have it set up so you can come to anyone that resonates. Because I know when we did the love sequence, there were some harder ones. The emotional EQ, that's from the age of 0 to 7. There's some childhood stuff that is hard to go through. Some of them are not for the faint of heart. And then other ones, like the last couple, they've been really cool to see what is my niche? Where do I fit in? How do I work with the social fabric? And then Yeah. And then what is my brand?
And then I'm sure you've created, when they do go through this shadow work, how do you create that space to help them? Because I know some people sometimes are like, I didn't realize how much shadow work I had or how heavy shadow work can be. So
I'm not going to lie, these are intense. And I actually started working with Yulia to bring hypnotherapy in it to help because it's an activation. That's what's happening. You have them in your genetic coding. We just need to bring that awareness there. So, one of the things that I can quite proudly say is thanks to back in the days, building up the sisterhood and so on, one of strengths in life is holding space, is creating a safe circle, a safe container, and making sure it's a place where people can actually process and be seen, but also held. Um, so maybe not everyone would agree, but that's something that I feel very strongly about. And that's why I wanted to do it this way, because I think we can self-explore all we want, but we need a witness. To be witnessed is to exist. And so when you're sitting in a circle and you're sharing these vulnerable things and going through stuff, like finding out what is hard to get out there, but you're doing it in a place where everybody's being just as vulnerable and everybody's holding that space, you leave light. Like you leave with this self-realization of this is what's been, this is my cycles I get stuck in. This is where I haven't been appreciated, or this is where the hurt is. And someone's seen it. I keep them very small. I don't let more than 10 people come in. You have 9 witnesses that have seen you, and you don't even have to ever see them again. But now that is official in your subconscious, you're seen. And I think that's really important to our healing. It's one thing to go to a therapist and do all the work, but if there's not someone to hear you do all the work or anything, it can feel very lonely.
I think hard too, because I feel like there's sometimes when you're doing it by yourself, it's like, am I processing this the right way? I mean, not to say the right way, but how am I processing this? And then you feel alone. But when you're in more of a group setting, I think there's that empathy because everyone's going through same thing but different. You can kind of process.
Yes. Oh, God, yes. And it's interesting because I have men and women that come to this, and nobody knows what's going to happen until it happens. But I'm just noticing the reflection because we're all oracles. Like the people who come to that, there's no mistake as to who that called to. So generally, when we're sitting in there, there's a reason. So somebody else's things that they're noticing are generally going to relate to someone else in the room. So it just creates this really nice way, this intimacy, I think is the word that I'm looking for. You're seen, you're witnessed, you're held with zero judgment in a safe container, but you're not alone. There's somebody who can see that. And with my circles, like there's rules, there's no advice. You don't reassure, you let them process. And so people leave and they feel seen and not like someone's trying to fix them or there's something wrong with them. They feel empowered.
Oh, I love that.
Me too. Like I said, it's my baby. I'm very love my sequences of self. And as far as I know, the correlation, like the Gene Keys is the I Ching, human design, and astrology all wrapped up in a little bundle. But the correlation of the astrological language psychologically with the Gene Keys, as far as I know, I'm the only person that does it in that way. As far as I can tell, because I've not seen it on YouTube or anywhere else the way that I do it. Honestly, I feel like there's a trailblazer there. And I hope that it catches on because I think this is what people need to be.
Because I mean, with the Gene Keys and with human design, it's all based on astrology to some extent, especially human design because it's astrology with the I Ching and some other stuff combined together to create the human design. But I think it's just nice that you're able to put all of that together and make it into something that people can understand, but then people can work through their shadows as well.
Exactly.
And to have that, and then to create that space and community and connection for people to then go through it and heal. And because I know like we can do the inner child work and you can kind of feel alone with it. And there are people who will help you to go through that, but sometimes it's nice to be able to have that group and
also to have it spelled out for you. Like, we all can do inner child work, but the beauty of astrology and the Gene Keys is it can actually say, this is your childhood. This is your blockage from it. This is the experience that shifted you. And obviously, it's not predictive as to everyone's childhood, but it shows the behavioral patterns that most likely occurred. So instead of you having to dig deep and be like, all right, what was it? It's spelled out for you. And the part that resonates that's the part you want. And I think that's what I like about astrology so much is you don't have to sit there and go through all of the things. Like, it's just right there in front of you, and you can use it as whatever tool you'd like.
I love that. And how do people react to that when they find out that, oh, this is what happened in your childhood? And how you just explained it?
For the most part, validated. For the most part, the most common reaction is validation. Is the biggest feedback is usually it's like you were there, or it's like you knew. But it's because we're all running on century-old blueprints that we're trying to break these cycles of, and that's the underlying current. And then the seasons, the planetary placements have to do with how you respond to those things. So it doesn't do anything about what your personality is, but it does a lot of what most likely was a thing that did become your shadow. How did you repress this, or how do you react to that? And when you can see that, then you can grow.
Right. You can change. I mean, you can change. You can't change the past, but you can change how you react to it.
Exactly. And you can forgive it even a little bit. Usually when you see the wounds that are there, there's a part of you that can see how it interplayed probably through the generations. So it's not even about blame. It's just about, oh, there it is. I see it.
Well, history repeats itself, right? So that generational trauma can come in and.
Oh, yes.
So amazing.
Yeah, it is. It is.
In the astrological charts that you can actually see that.
Yes.
And then put blame, but have that empowerment of, okay, I can learn from this and grow from it.
Yes. I think that's the key with whether you do human design, astrology, whether you go, whatever therapy you seek, if your intention is to grow, you're going to grow. If your intention is to find a culprit, you're going to stay where you are in that victim place. And that's really the simplicity of the Gene Keys. Is it just lays it out. Here's these patterns. See them, because we're all going to, we don't evolve and then just stay there. Life is always like this. But when you can say, all right, I'm totally in this loop, that gives you a key to get out much more than people who just stay there and can't see that they're in the loop.
No, that's amazing. I love it. I think that's all I have for you today, Sandy. So thank you so much. Where can people find you?
People can find me, probably my website is the best place at www.solarpowerhealth.com, or on Instagram. My Instagram always is updated.
And I can put those links into the show notes so everyone can find you easily through there. Well, thank you so much for coming and for sharing what you have to offer and how you create community in Cochrane and the collabs. I loved it.
I love talking with you, my friend, and I love all you do. You have one of those hearts that just is shifting the world just by being here.
Oh, thank you. So you can find Sandy at Solar Power Health. It'll be in the links. Until next time, everyone, stay connected. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. I hope today's conversation sparked something new and reminded you of the power of connection. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with others, and continue spreading the message of unity across all walks of life. Until next time, stay connected.